How you doing, people? It's Richie from People Supporting the People. Once again, I'm here with Murray again, and we're going to be... The last video, just to sum up, the last video we done was about the removing consent, and a lot of people will have questions about why removing consent, they don't quite understand it. So we've decided this time to talk about the birth certificate, Murray, and how we've been, during the birth registering process, our names have been criminally converted, a trust has been created, and you know that trust is making money, but we don't know about it, and there's a big fraud going on there, and a lot of people don't understand it. So, should we start talking about the birth certificate?
Aye, let's start talking about the
I've
process.
got a copy of it here, so I'll read out some information about it shortly, but let's talk about the process, initial process when you go and register for birth.
So basically your mother and father go down to the registry office because they think it's the thing that you're supposed to do and register the newborn child.
Because your mother and father's never been taught any different.
Any different either. So they go down and they register you, and the Crown Corporation then they give you a title, which is the all caps name. That is a title of a corporation. Right? So what they're basically doing, it's what's called Dominutio, Capitis Dominutio Maxima. Basically that's old Roman, now wait to get this right, that's what you call the maxims of Roman law, and we still abide by some of these to this day in the courtrooms, by the way. So that's the maxims, and what it basically means is Capitis Dominutio Maxima. It basically means maximum loss of status from man to slave. So it's actually telling you what they're doing when they're giving you that title, and that's where you'll notice in headed letters, bank cards and everything else in the legal system, that is your title that they've gave you. And what they've basically done is they've turned you into a corporation, right? And that is the title, and then you are then property of the Crown Corporation or state, because they've created you on paper, and that's why the birth certificate, that is their certification that you are their property, because they have created you on paper.
It's basically a certificate of incorporation. So if you're a director of a company, or you're going to create a company, you would go to .gov, Companies House, and you would register your
certify
company. Now, look at works vans, right? Look at businesses, vans, lorries, signage, everything. Bill-headed letters, everything is in block capital letters, because it's an incorporated company.
Incorporated.
It's a company which been created for making profit, effectively. Right?
Commerce.
So why would they do that to a child? Because they're obviously going to enter that child into commerce and make money for that child.
Exactly.
But we don't know it.
That's exactly what it is, Richie. Now, to get into a wee bit of depth here, what happens here is, when you, being a human being, you have got creativity of mind and energy to create things of value. Therefore, you're an asset. And I think what they do is, now this is no totally accurate, but it's rough. You've got, for instance, I think they take over a 75-year average lifespan. And if you have got, which you have, you've got this creativity of mind and energy to create things of value, you've got a value asset of something like £1 million in the New York Stock Exchange. Something like that.
Probably more.
Probably more, but as I say, I don't know the specifics.
Twice as much
I
in
know
some
roughly.
cases.
But
so
you're basically a value asset, and with them certifying you and registering you as a corporation, and them then through law, he who creates owns. So because they've recreated you on paper, they claim you as their property. Therefore, they've then just switched. They've done the switcheroo, and they've basically they've stole your assets.
I mean, a lot of people out there will not believe in this, and I'm quite happy to share my documents, which I've got. And I got these a couple of years ago. The first document is an extract of my birth certificate. I wouldn't share that, but that's not the important document.
Yep.
I went to Scotland's People and I paid, I think it was £14
Right.
for an extract.
Yep.
The important part
Yep.
of this, and this just clarifies what you said, this is proof and evidence
Yep.
that what you said is true, right? Because what this does is this is the receipt for my £14 for that certificate.
Yep.
But what they've done in Scotland's People, they've slipped up because they're actually saying that this is a statutory birth entry for the entity ID.
Entity.
Right.
What's an entity?
Well, if anybody who looks up, doesn't matter whether it's Black's Law Dictionary or the Oxford Dictionary, if you look at what an entity is, it's a separate existence corporation, company, or something that stands alone, right? Incorporated. So that's basically what an entity is, right?
Yep.
So they've actually told you they're going to do that.
Yep.
The important part of this, right? People know my name's Richard Taylor. A lot of people don't know that. They know it now, right? That's my two first names. My surname's Tyrrell. Now, can you confirm that all that's capital letters? So, is that mine? Does that belong to me, Murray? Is that me?
This is where the trickery comes in.
This is where the trickery comes in. But I managed to whip this out the magician's sleeve,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And now we've got it. So the entity ID number, which I'll cover up, but my name's there. It's Tyrrell, all block capital letters, Richard Taylor, all block capital letters. It's got my date of birth and I'm a male. And it's got all that. So that there confirms it. That is evidence.
But
right?
this is the thing though, Richie, when people
So-
don't know any better.
Aye.
You just see the name there, but
Aye.
you don't see the format.
Aye.
And it's all to do with the perception and the format, and this is all the hidden stuff
Aye.
that we're not taught.
So, right, okay, so let's talk about things that happen in the legal system, right?
Yep.
Getting a ticket for parking, getting a speeding ticket, the police decides he doesn't like your driving, he's going to pull you off for dangerous driving.
Yep.
This is all stuff that you could end up in court with.
Yep.
If you know a wee bit about common law,
Yep.
you will end up in court
Yep.
if you stand up for your rights, right?
Yep.
When you get into that court, there's going to be two people getting into that court, right? Me, the people, and this, the person, right?
You're the man and the person also.
So I get into that court, the judge is going to say something like, "Are you Richard?"
Well, that's
Taylor?"
the first question they ask you, Richard, and it's all about gaining jurisdiction over you.
Right, exactly.
So they ask you, the first thing the judge says to you, "Are you Mr. Richard Tyrrell?"
Right. Say, no, there's Mr. Richard Tyrrell,
No, I believe this is the person you'll be looking for, sir.
Aye.
And I can categorically declare that that is not me.
Because I've got the evidence.
That is the person, and there's the evidence.
Aye.
Right? So that is the evidence they're saying. The live birth record is evidence that Richard of the family Tyrrell, or whatever way you want to,
Aye.
say your name.
It's the easiest way to explain to somebody.
Aye.
What's the
Yep.
difference between a living man and woman under common law and
Yeah.
a person under commerce?
Yeah.
That's a person under commerce. The
Yep.
birth certificate.
Yep.
That's a corruption. They don't
That's
have
a
filled
corporation.
That's a corporation.
So
aye.
basically, for clarity, right? For clarity, they've registered you as a business, and it's a business, a corporation, a business that they own.
Aye.
Right? That's the kind of simplicity of the whole thing. So basically, what they've done is they've registered you as their property with the all caps name, which is the title of the business,
Aye.
and they own it. And everything that you think you own, they own because they own you
Because
and
they
your
own you.
children.
Aye. And by the way, Klaus Schwab did say, you'll own nothing and be happy. So what's coming? Do you know what I mean? But back to the tickets and things like that, right?
Yep.
So we've looked at the birth certificate, the extract of the birth certificate. We've seen the receipt,
Clever stuff.
which they've seen the receipt, which actually confirms in block
Yes.
capital letters that you.
That's the evidence. There's the facts and
every-
evidence right there.
So see that entity ID.
Right.
That'll match your national insurance number.
Yep.
And everything else that you're given. Your
Yep.
National Health Service number,
Yep.
that'll match everything.
Yep.
There's a database somewhere with
Yep.
all your information on it.
Yep.
And they're still trying to get more information off you with these cameras, but that's for a different day.
Yep.
Right, so we're in court. Obviously, the judge isn't just going to sit down at that. He's going to battle with you and fight with you. But
Yeah.
if you know...
Because he needs to gain jurisdiction, Richard. This is the way the
aye.
system works.
Aye.
They must establish jurisdiction before they can start the process
Aye.
of the what it's called as the private corporation. He's acting as the judge, right? See, he's a man acting as capacity as judge.
Notice the word acting. Right?
Acting.
We'll use that. We'll get
Yes.
back. We'll discuss this
Right.
word acting
Aye.
a bit more because
Right.
the world is just a scripted
It's a
play.
stage, aye, it's theatre.
It's all an illusion,
Right.
right? We've said this before in videos and we've discussed this many times.
Yes.
It is just, right, so you say the word acting.
Yep.
Now, changing that puts everybody in the status of a person,
Yeah,
right?
in the
if you're
fictional
working in the fictional world, in the illusion, you're
Yep.
a person, right?
Yep.
But under common law,
Yep.
for the turf up, you're a living man, living woman.
But you need to know that, Richie, and this is the
I know,
difference.
I know, but
You need
so
to-
we're going
you
to
need-
explain that now, right? So let's talk about that now. So you're in the person. The judge, you're saying the judge is acting in a capacity
a man
of
acting in capacity
right?
as judge. Yep.
There's a man acting in the capacity of a prosecutor fiscal, there's a man acting in the capacity of a lawyer.
Man
And they
acting
want
as
you to go
clerk.
in and act as yourself,
Yes.
right?
They want you acting your
They want you
capacity
to get
as
into
commercial person,
That
state owned.
aye, and it's funny the
So
way
therefore, what is deemed what
it's
is-
so funny
Oh.
that it's so funny that we all know this. now.
But this is the thing, Richie. This is the basics what people don't know, right? And this is the facts that matter. You've got illusionists and magicians now in the secret societies that all these people operate in, which they do, right? The people at the higher echelons of these secret societies.
Yeah.
This is where you find the chiefs and the police, the courts. This is where the powerful people.
Yeah.
This is where they kind of congregate and they
Yep.
So what you've got here is you've got secret societies that swear oaths to serve and protect each other,
Aye.
and that supersedes their public oaths, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, you've got these men and women acting as capacity, as judge, constable, whatever you want to be,
Acting. Yeah.
right? So it's telling you what they're actually doing, so they're acting,
Yeah.
right? But what they do is through the 12 presumptions of the court of law, they presume that you, the man, are acting in your capacity as person every day,
Yep.
every minute of every day.
Yep.
Therefore, rules, regulations, policies, acts and statutes that are not actually laws, they're qualifying colourings of law. But because of the ruling of the court, that the 12 presumptions,
Yeah.
they presume that everybody's acting in their capacity as person,
So-
where all rule, regulation, policy, action, statutes then apply to you,
So there's-
because they presume that you're acting in that capacity.
There's a simple thing here, right? You remember way back in the sovereign days, but you know, I
The Scottish sovereigns.
Aye, right. And remember Sean?
Aye.
You remember him, right?
Aye.
That was one of the best interactions. Probably still to this day.
But a humour
that we've
about
ever
it, but it
seen.
was challenging the system.
Aye. And
'Cause
by
he
the
knew the
way,
trickery that was
I've
involved.
spoke to him before, and I've told him we're going to be doing some
He's actually
videos.
he's a good
And
pal. I
and
know
he's,
him well,
he's
Sean.
willing to do interviews with us. He's
Aye, aye,
willing
we'll-
to come up and
we'll get him
share
down.
some of his experience, right? So he done an interaction with the first copper that came along.
YouTube and brilliant.
Aye, and he didn't know, right? So, can I, have you got a driver's licence? Can I see your licence? I don't need to show you my licence, right? But he kept it humorous,
Aye.
and that kept him on until eventually he asked the policeman what his name, and he says, "My name's Bobby, son of Tam, wee Tam for the
Bobby,
Carlton or
Tam
something
for the
like that." I can't remember the names,
Brilliant.
right? But it was absolutely class.
But it got people's attention, Richie, and this is the point
People
we're making.
were going like, hold on a minute, why is he saying that?
He's challenging
Right.
something here. He knows something.
He knows something that the rest of us haven't researched, and that's where a lot of us started researching
Aye.
and going, why was this? And this is when we started getting into it.
Aye.
Albeit it might have just been wee bits every now and then,
Aye.
but we were picking things up. We
Yep.
were planting the seeds of
Yep.
growth of, but understanding
Aye.
about the
What does he
corruption
know?
in the system.
How can he challenge them? What does he
Aye.
know that the
Aye.
general public don't know?
Ultimately, he was still getting to jail sometimes.
Well, sometimes he was, but
Do you know
that's
what I mean?
because he
But he had
admitted to me himself, Richie, that there was a lot of stuff he didn't know. This was him just gaining his wings, where he was just trying it out.
But that's,
So you're going to have trip ups. You're going to have.
he was one of the first to do it. As
He
far
was
as
bullshit
I'm
enough,
concerned.
brave enough to try it.
Aye. So
And what it done there was it proved that there was that you had
There's a chink
rights
in
to
their armour.
Yes.
Because when they're there, when you ask for a warrant card for a police constable,
Yeah.
it'll actually say police constable on it.
Aye.
It'll say his name, his rank, or police constable, police sergeant, or whatever, and then underneath it in capital letters,
Yep.
in the corporation, right, it says officer.
Yep.
So that tells you, it goes back to that
He's got a dual
switching that status
he's
again.
got a dual status.
Aye.
But why have they got a dual status? Why have you only just got one status?
Because you said it earlier. You said that they were. He can switch.
Yes.
He assumes and presumes that everybody 24 hours a day acts in the
12
capacity of a person.
Yep.
Right. So.
But in their oath, they only swear to uphold the law and serve and protect the people.
Aye. It
Doesn't
doesn't
say
say
about enforcing policy
or acts and stats.
Yes.
Acts and stats. And another thing.
So there's grey areas, aren't there?
Aye. Acts and stats are man-made laws.
Yep.
Right, and they don't have any place under common law or under God's law.
So this is the thing, Richie. Regarding these secret societies that probably come up with these things, that's why there is never any transparency, because it's trickery and illusion. And the name of the game is there's a famous saying, let he who be seated be deceived, or something along the lines. So it's basically giving you the go-ahead to, in order to get the end result, it doesn't matter how you get it as long as you get the end result. And I think that goes away back into the Luciferian doctrine, the Luciferian belief system. They believe that as long as you can achieve the end result, it doesn't matter what way you get it.
There's loads we can talk about in the court system and how to challenge it.
Yep.
And there's you can have 3 attempts at everything. And the magic thing here is 3, right?
Yep.
I get involved when they wouldn't let me into court to go and see somebody who was going to be who was getting tried for basically just being out in the street telling the truth, right? And they were going to an intermediate diet. And I said to the security, and they wouldn't let me and Paul in.
Paul Connor?
Aye. And then they wouldn't let us in, so the security guard, funnily enough, went, listen, if you don't stop this and stop trying to get in, I'll call the constable. Went, constable!
Yep.
And he came out.
Yep.
You right? So the security guard's going, what's going on
I'll
here?
do it for you, mate.
Aye.
I'll call him for you.
So I tried to explain to the constable that we're getting in there and all
I think
that.
I've seen that video, actually.
Aye.
I've seen that video.
And said to him, look, we're living men, common law court badges, it's proof that we're men and not a person.
Yep.
We don't consent anyway to being policed.
Yep.
And that's my choice, and that's a fact, in law.
And we know we're not committing any crime in law, therefore...
No loss, harm or injury.
Yes.
We went in there.
Yep.
The simple fact was it's the COVID...
Well, we're required to be in there, it's a public building.
It's the COVID guidelines, and I'm saying, but that's...
Don't consent to COVID anyway.
That's no law. And I did say to him, look, acts and stats are given the force of the law by the consent of the government.
And I do not consent.
I don't consent. I said that.
Yes.
And I says, do you not understand this, constable? And do you know what he said? I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube.
Aye.
Hold on a minute here.
Aye.
That's not why we pay to put that uniform in your back.
That's right. Aye.
That's not why we pay your wages. Again, because he drew me into slavery, I had to serve him with a notice of intent to challenge their authority and jurisdiction over a living man for drawing me into slavery.
That's the thing, they don't have jurisdiction unless you give them it.
Aye. So when I gave him that, when I actually sent him, I've seen him in court a couple of times, and every time I've seen him, he's just turned around and walked away.
Yep.
I don't think he realises the severity of what's actually been dealt with.
They don't.
And this is something that people need to understand, that see when you're challenged under common law and you're given a notice of intent or an affidavit of truth or a statement of fact and truth, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter, it's the same thing.
Yep.
When you present that to somebody and you give that to somebody, that stands as a fact in law.
Yep.
Your creator's law, God's law.
But here's the thing, Rich,
right?
I must touch on, right, for the viewers and for the general public again. The police go by the presumptions, the 12 presumptions. What is a presumption? A presumption is probable.
Aye.
Now, in law, we don't deal with probable anything.
I know.
We deal with facts and truths.
Evidence, aye.
Right? So they're going with of the 12 presumptions. Think about it. A presumption? Well, that's not a fact in law.
Of course it's not.
So therefore you rebut it.
Yeah.
So a presumption rebutted means it doesn't stand as law.
No.
But you must rebut it, and there's where the trickery comes in again.
And again, it's silence is consent as
silence
well.
is consent. So therefore, when they presume that you're acting your capacity as person, going unchallenged or unrebutted means it stands.
Yep.
Because, like you say, silence is consent.
Aye.
Tacit agreement.
Yep.
Therefore, you have to rebut these 12 presumptions. And if you look at the 12 presumptions, it covers all the various things regarding enslaved, jailed, and all the other things that you can lose all your different rights if you don't rebut them. You must rebut the presumptions. But that's the irony of this trickery, whereby they're going by a presumption that all the public and all the people are acting in their capacity as person every minute of every day. For instance, you've got a right to travel on the public highway.
Yep.
So my perception of that is that I'm simply exercising my rights to travel on the public highway from point A to point B in my private conveyance, which is my right to do so.
Yep.
His presumption is that I'm a driver.
Yep.
And I've got a licence to drive. Therefore, rule, regulation, policy, acts and statutes, as in road traffic acts, apply to me because he presumes that I was acting in my capacity as person. But in order for you to act in your capacity as person, the fact of the matter is that you must be acting and engaging in commerce.
Of course you do. You need to be getting paid.
Me simply exercise my right to travel in my private conveyance. Where is that me engaging in commerce?
Well, it's no.
Exactly.
It's no, you're driving in your own private capacity.
No driving. I'm travelling.
Sorry.
Right. That's where the words that you use can incriminate you.
People can make
mistakes. And that's how easy it is to slip. Aye.
Even,
so therefore,
even people like us, we can make mistakes.
Of course we can.
So you need to be very careful.
So the use of words is vitally important when you're talking about the law, because it can draw you into the fictitious world where then they gain consent to enforce policy on you.
See the way to look at it. You don't need a licence to ride a bike.
No.
Don't need a licence to ride a horse.
No.
Right?
Yep.
Now, before cars came along, it was horses.
Yep, horse and carts.
Right? Didn't you need licence?
States in your the documents and insurance and that, didn't it?
Aye.
We Sean actually recites that after one.
Aye,
it goes to fucking.
Aye, I can't. It's been a while since I watched that, and I've watched it a couple of times, but it's really good. But aye, so we need to understand that under common law, we're actually men and women, boys and girls.
Yep.
But in the legal system, if you're working, if you're earning money, right?
Yep.
And only if you're earning money, if you then you would be driving.
Yep.
You'd be acting
in commerce.
Acting in commerce.
Yep.
So that you'd be making money and you would be driving.
Yep.
So if you speed day and night, then there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Again, that's why it's very important with your choice of words and language regarding your perception of what you're doing. If I was to say, if the police pulled me over and said, you were speeding there, I require your name. You were driving a mechanical propelled vehicle and you were doing 40 or 30 or whatever.
Yep.
I would say, what I'm doing has got nothing to do with you, because I'm simply exercising my right to travel from point A to point B in my private conveyance, where I am not acting in commerce. I'm simply just exercising my right to travel.
A lot of people talk about what's the best approach to have with police if they stop you. Traffic police are known
to be courteous.
Well, that's number one.
Number one, stand in honour. Be courteous.
Aye.
Be polite.
Don't be cheeky.
Exercise your knowledge to them and let them know that you're no some dafty, that you understand how the law works. And then you've got a right to challenge the authority of
somebody who's not got the knowledge that we have. The best approach. Some people say the best approach is just to turn around and say, I'm under arrest. No.
What crime and law do you suspect me of committing?
But again, you've got to be really knowledgeable. So the normal punter on the street.
I wouldn't think to say something like that.
It's alright, we would get into conversation, give them a lesson, and you'd be like, who's that?
Aye.
You know what I mean? They don't realise that just a daft knuckle dragging scaffolder.
Aye, but they do.
You know what I mean?
Aye.
So
sometimes even thank you for your education, for educating them, because they didn't know
Sometimes they just get away in a bad mood, man, and give you a ticket
anyway.
Well, they
do anyway, because they think they've got a right to do that.
Aye, but that's the way they've been
But what about the two constables in Irvine who were handing out the light newspaper one day, and I says, I would like to ask you, I require to ask you two guys a question here. You both swear an oath to uphold the law and serve and protect the people, correct? Yes. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions regarding the law, because there's no better place to come and ask to come and ask the question than two guys that swore an oath to do so. Would I be right in saying that? Aye. So I'm going to ask them a couple of questions in the law, and every time I've done it, they've went, well, that's a way over my head, that. I don't know about that. And I went, well, we've now got a bigger problem than we did when we started this conversation, because, again,
you don't know how to do your job.
My understanding is that you two guys are swore an oath to uphold the law and to serve and protect the people. I'm asking you for guidance and to make sure my understanding of the law is correct, with two guys that swore an oath to uphold it, and you're telling me you don't know what I'm talking about. That's alarming.
It's crazy. I know, it's crazy. I remember that day. I can confirm that's true. It was a strange encounter.
Yep.
But people don't understand there's actually a hierarchy of law, Murray. So you've at the top of the scale, depending on how you look at things, you've got your creator, whether that's your mother and father, God, the universe, however you see things, Buddha, whatever, right? You've got the creator, and then he's created man, right?
Yep.
So that's how you get people who are God-fearing, religious people, because Christians and that, because he's the creator, right? Or the universe is the creator, however you want to look at it. So you've got that, and then you've got the corporation, which was created by man, right?
Yep.
And that there is a simple, very, very simple hierarchy of law. It can actually go, you can actually take it a bit further, look at it, you can break it down to about 8 sections. But for me, to keep it simple, you've got God, man, corporation.
Yep.
That means that man and woman always has authority over corporation, unless, again, you're acting in a capacity.
As person, aye. Where you're waiving your rights as a man or woman.
Yep.
Where when you're in capacity as person, you then have, what is it you call it again? You're waiving your rights and freedoms, and you get, what is it you get? Benefits and privileges.
Benefits.
That's what you get.
A driver's licence is a privilege.
Benefits and privileges. Well,
aye. Because if you get 12 points in your licence, they take that privilege off you.
Yep.
Right. That privilege is only for work.
Yep. So why would you ever?
You can get your driver's licence taken off you.
Yep.
But still be able to drive your car. Yep. But
so
the normal man and the woman in the street doesn't recognise that.
And again, why would you ever waiver rights and freedoms to obtain benefits and privileges that can be taken away from you? Rights and freedoms is inherent within, cannot be taken away from you.
Inalienable rights.
But when you go into the commercial, the fictitious world, acting in your capacity as person, that is what you get then. You then get the benefits and privileges in that world.
Yep.
But if you don't want to enter that world, because you've got a right to do so, if you want to enter it, you can, when you're acting in commerce. But if you're just standing simply as a man, living man, then you've got rights and freedoms.
If you're a living man, flesh and blood, with life, then your rights and your freedoms are there.
Stay intact.
Aye. Anyway, I think that's enough for this video. Anybody's got any questions surrounding it, put them in the comments section. Again, if we need to do another video on something, or somebody wants to know about something else, we don't profess to know everything. But we will research it, and we will find out, and we will get back to you. We'll not ignore you. Look us up. People Supporting the People is our Facebook group. So look us up, come and join us, even just come in, say hello, leave a comment or whatever.
We're looking to grow the ranks as well, Richie, and People Supporting the People on Facebook. We're trying to grow the group and grow the ranks and get more and more people involved. The more people get behind obviously the campaign with the withdrawn consent and everything else, the more people that have got the knowledge is power. We can then go and challenge unjust laws, unjust governments, corrupt governments, corrupt authority. So it's all to do with a numbers game. So the more people that have got the knowledge and know what's actually taking place the more that we, the people, can benefit from and go and turn things round about and make things right and right all the wrongs, because this whole system has been hijacked with corruption. Right from the beginning with the trickery and illusion through the birth certificate fraud and everything else, they've turned it into a slavery system that people are not aware they're slaves. So we're just looking for the truth. We're looking for transparency, and obviously the end goal is to have a share in wealth and prosperity for everybody.
Aye, of course.
You know,
we shouldn't have people lying in the streets, ex-servicemen, especially when there's military men coming in on RNLI's lifeboats, which, as far as I'm concerned, are a Trojan horse. But again, that's another topic for another day. But please come and support us and leave your comments in there. I hope this has shown people the difference between a man and a person, the trickery in the system, which Commander acts in a play or an illusion. And I hope it certainly shows people who has the authority over the police constables, the governments and the corporations.
We're trying to
what I would say to anybody is, if you don't believe us, challenge them. Ask the questions. Ask the questions that they don't want to answer.
We're trying to make this light-hearted as possible, enjoyable while you're learning as well. It's serious stuff, yes, but as I say, I think if you can get a right strategy or technique into making it a wee bit more light-hearted, enjoyable while you're learning, then it becomes, you know, more enjoyable, isn't it?
Aye, and I was approached about on Saturday about, you know, maybe going to somebody's house when the guy was telling us that he really fancies getting a crowd of people together. If we would go up and explain things to them and
do a wee presentation on the fundamentals, primary and fundamental values of
something
common
we would
law
try and do. So aye. Anyway, we're going to finish it here. Thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you the next time. And thanks for your support.
Aye, thanks guys for watching. Hopefully this is beneficial to you, this information. And like I say again, look for us on Facebook, People Supporting the People. Come and we'll add yourself into the group and get to know an awful lot more stuff like this. And again, cheers for watching.
See you later. Thanks.
Cheers now.